Hi, amazing women in business. I am super excited to bring to you our very first session of Ask Me Anything, where we will be interacting with some of New Zealand's best life and business coaches, all hanging out here with us on GetCoached. So, I am your host, Bhavana, and I'm also the founder of Getcoachednz. And with GetCoached, we're trying to make it easy as for you to find a life and a business coach. Now, how was the 3 days of lockdown for you all? My God, I had a sick child on the first day. Um, but yeah, it's just made us realize that nothing is permanent, isn't it? So, while our lives are constantly changing, we're having to keep on going back to sharing working space with our partners, entertain bored kids, you know. Squeezing in that work hours. Man, life's tough right now. But it only made sense for us to have our very first guest as a life coach who could share with us some tips on battling these uncertainties and battling anxiety and in general living our best life. So here's my conversation with the beautiful life coach, Irina Sweeney, and stay with us till the end. And I'm sure you'll walk away with some valuable lessons from our conversation. Without further ado, please welcome Irina Sweeney. Now, Irina is an ICF certified transformational life coach. She helps busy women like you and me to get clear on their personal values so they give themselves permission to be who they truly are and achieve goals that they never imagined they could. How awesome is that? That's just super great, Irina. I love what you say about values and how you can how we women are so limited with our thinking. You know, we say like, oh, maybe I can't do this, I can't do that, and you are there helping women achieve goals that they thought they could not imagine. So I'm sure this is a very fulfilling job.
Do you call it even a job? It's just like something you do because you enjoy it, eh?
Right. So that sounds brilliant. Let's dive straight into it. What is a transformational life coach, and how do you tell us about what you do, how you do it?
Hmm. So I think in order for me to explain what a transformational coach is, maybe we need to understand the distinction between transactional and transformational coach. So transactional is something, a very tangible goal. Let's say you want to learn how to deliver a public speech. So this is transactional. You can have it as a goal, and your coaching will help you to deliver that speech by the end of your coaching interaction with a coach.
Right.
But then, so it focuses on a problem, but transformational coaching focuses on the person. And transactional can be part of it. So, delivering your speech could be part of it, but like what else, maybe on the way to that goal, transactional goal, you can change your thinking about yourself as a public speaker, or yourself as having, having confidence or having lack of confidence. So it's all that kind of stuff that happens inside of you, and then that will transpire on the outside, and that will make you make different choices in your life, and in your career and your personal life, regardless.
Right.
This is, I guess, the distinction between what's transformative from within and what's just transactional, which is like one particular goal. So it's coaching a person as opposed to coaching a problem, if it makes sense.
Right. Brilliant. So what does that look like in real life? Can you give us an instance of how you've helped somebody um, create that transformation that they wanted to have?
So sometimes it's almost a reframing, because when your thinking isn't challenged, when you just think, when you have your own beliefs because you develop them over a period of time, you have no one there to really challenge you in a positive way, I suppose. So I don't know, one of the examples could be one of my clients changed relationship with a key person in their life because they always thought that they were the one responsible for everything. They were the one, again, reactive. And then when they did the work with me, then they realized that actually there's a new way of looking at this. There's a new way of thinking about this. And it's almost like when she relaxed in that conversation, in that relationship with that key person, everything had started to change, the other person started to behave in a more responsible way, just because she was no longer reactive. She was no longer displaying the usual patterns, because she realized that she's a different person. She realized that she not a different person, that there are other key things in her life. And so that kind of allowed her to make a shift to pay more attention what's more important, to not be a micromanager. So all these little subtle things that she changed, that
make different choices, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and think about things, reframed thinking about stuff. And so she allowed herself to create a very different relationship with that person.
Wow, yeah, sounds awesome. So I know you've done other work before. So what made you become a life coach? What was your journey? Could you shed some light on that?
So I think the journey was for quite some time, as long as I can remember. I would refer to myself as a helper or as a people's person. People would always come to me and talk about their problems and whatnot. And I think I had a bit of a male bone in me, where I just always wanted to come up with a solution. I was really good at advising, okay, so this is a problem. This is exactly what you need to do. And then you get pissed off because you recommend something and then they don't do as you tell them. And so that whole distinction between coaching and giving advice, it was very key for me. So one of the reasons why I decided to do coaching was to actually listen more to people and create, again, that transformation from within, tease out from people, what is it that you think is best for you? And then let's see how you can get there. Because just because I think I know best, I'm actually not living in your skin. I don't know what's best for you. And hence, coaching is treating you as a whole person, creative, aware, you know exactly what you need to do, but maybe nobody asks you tough questions to tease it out of you. So that's probably one. The other aspect was that coaching focuses on the future as opposed to on the past. So when you think about all these different modalities, there's coaching, then there's training, there's counseling, or therapy. There's consulting. So all these different modalities that deal with different parts of our lives and the way we deal, we go about it as well. So coaching is not a therapy. So I'm not, delving too much on your past, kind of trying to understand, why you're the way you are and, healing your past traumas. This is not my job. However, we acknowledge it. We acknowledge the way you are and the way you are not in this point in time. But my focus is in the future. Like, what would you like? Everything you have and everything you don't have at this point in time, maybe yet. Where do you want to be with that? And so then it's my job to kind of, understand how can I help you to get where you want to be? And on the way, even clarifying, is it really where you want to be? Because sometimes, how in life we just take on somebody else's goals, like we want to be, I don't know, a doctor because my parents.
Because my mom wanted me to be. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is very important to actually create clarity within a person. What do they want to do? And then see how we can get them there. Right.
Now, so it sounds like you've always been a people person, as you say, and you've had this, you're pretty empathetic, aren't you? You want to listen to what problems people have and try and solve them. And this led to your career now as a life coach, which sounds brilliant. Now, I was going through your work, and one of your key work is on helping people discover their values. Could you tell us how important it is to have value, and is it different from belief? Is Shed more light on that, please.
Mm-hmm. So values are different from needs. They're different from beliefs. Values is something that it's almost like they run our life. They're in the background. And when we don't realize, when we can't articulate what our values are, we still get an effect of being aligned or misaligned with our values. So for example, you may be very happy at work, or in your relationship, or in your hobbies, or the wonderful charity work that you do, but you may not realize why. So you're just in a flow. But I think when values are really in our face is when we're misaligned, when we're really dissatisfied with the work or with our personal life. And when we really think about why is that, normally there's a link to a value that just doesn't play out fully in that relationship, for example. So that's why it's very important to realize your values. They're different to beliefs, because obviously beliefs are formed through our life. They're formed, with our background. Sometimes we take on somebody else's belief. If your mum tells you all the time that, I don't know, you're no good, or whatever, or the opposite, praises you too much, you kind of you take on that belief. But this is not yours. You're not. You don't have a chance to actually listen to yourself, to the inside, what's important.
Mm-hmm.
They're different from needs, because needs can be part of it, but it's not all of it. So for example, you have a need to express yourself on stage, let's say.
Yeah.
You want to deliver a song or a dance on stage. So this could be your need, but the actual value that sits behind it could be the value of connection, because you want to, connect with the audience. So it's almost like you need to listen to both. But I think once you understand your values, they're like goalposts in your life. Then you understand, okay, does this action align? Does it align with my value? If it does, then I know that my experience is going to be good. If it's completely misaligned, then it's really will be tough for me to exist in that environment.
Yeah. Back to your values, and now going back to the work that you do, what I really love about your work, and I actually look forward to every beginning of the month, is your journaling prompts. So for those of you, our viewers who don't know, Irina does this beautiful post with journaling prompts every beginning of the month, certain as the sun. So if for nothing else, just to get those prompts on your feed, you've got to follow Irina. We'll be putting out all where to follow her and all that at the end of this, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, Irina, I love how you do that every single month. So that's amazing. Now, I've been fairly new to journaling myself, and I have tried using like different apps to do it, and it's been a bit cumbersome. So I've gone back to using pen and paper, and I've got my old planner here. That's like become a kid's drawing thing now. But yeah, so I've gone back to pen and paper, and there's another one here that my 5-year-old picked up for me. This is a glittery one, and it's a cheap one from Kmart. So, but yeah, for somebody who's just starting on the journaling journey, what would you recommend? Use apps, goes old school pen and paper, or it doesn't make any difference at all? Or, what would your tips be for journaling?
I think at the end of the day, whatever works for you, just do that. If you're absolutely not a pen and paper person, if you can only deal with technology, do that. Because I think my goal is, or goal for yourself would be to spend time in that self-discovery and understanding yourself. And journaling certainly is a tool for that. You can say that it's another like meditation and mindfulness tool, right?
Right.
So do that. But there's certain advantages when you use like analog tools like a pen and a paper, because if you do that, there's a certain connection that happens between the left-hand side and the right-hand side of your brain. So you retain information more, you're more present. Because what happens with computer, you can type and you can delete, you can type and you can delete. When you longhand writing,
Yeah.
you don't have this opportunity to delete. You you have to carry on. So you start something and they have you carry on. You start a thought and you have to, finish it. You can cross it out as well, but this is as well like this. There's an experience in crossing something physically.
Right.
You wrote something and you disagreed with it. So there's definitely a benefit of doing your journaling with pen and paper. I remember a few years back, I had this beautiful coach, Declan, and I remember before we started our sessions with him, first thing he told me, he said, go and buy yourself a beautiful journal and a beautiful pen. And I'm like, especially like coming from a man, right? But like there was something there that I bought something that I really loved holding and touching, because it's a very tactile experience. So if you have something that you love, touching, like I'm obviously I'm always writing with my fountain pens. There's experience in there, like changing the ink, and there's something there that attracts me. So if you have something that you really love, touching and going back to, you potentially can retain that habit for a longer time.
Right.
So I look forward to, opening up my notebook. I look forward to, picking up my pen and write. So there's something in it as well. But again, whatever works for you. So if it's not important to you, use whatever, you have at hand. People have like different relationships with, objects, but this is just my experience.
Right. Yeah, and I like what you said about having tactile, because I heard something about the those kitchen cloths. A lot of people, we just buy something off the supermarket, but then there are a few other people who have this really nice hand woven kitchen cloth, and they say there's something about doing your dishes and then wiping off with this really beautifully handmade kitchen cloth, which I don't use, but but I've heard that. So I think that's quite interesting that we tend to go back to, we enjoy something more when we like to touch it and feel it. So that sounds very interesting. You just mentioned that journaling is more like it's a meditation. And I know you do a lot of meditation yourself. Because while we were busy with our Christmas shopping and going crazy during Christmas period, you were away somewhere in a beautiful silent meditation retreat, which I would actually love to join, get away from this noise. But tell us more about it. How does that silent retreat work?
I think for me, in terms of meditation, I can't really honestly say that I meditate every day and for a long time, but I like the experience of meditation that when I do that. So I'm just human, like I fell off my habits, I come back to them. So I think this is why I use that silent meditation retreat. So this was my second time doing it. So I thought, we do servicing on our cars every year. How come I'm doing service on myself? It's almost like my one time in a year where I can actually check in, when I can go back within, when I can spend some time with myself, listening to my thoughts, listening to my patterns. It's like, for me, it's a very just comfortable, it's almost like a luxury, because we don't really give ourselves the gift of time. We're busy, we have responsibilities, and I'm really blessed to have a family that, a husband and a daughter that completely support that. If you need something to do something for yourself, go do it, because they know when I come back, I'll probably come back a better person from it.
Right. Yeah, I think if my husband hears about it, he'll be saying like, go, 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 because then you want to show that. But So meditation, I know times are uncertain right now, right? I mean, even this morning we were really thinking, whether we should send our daughter back to school or not. And I am a bit anxious, and I think so are other people here with the with the pandemic and everything. So how could you use meditation to calm yourself down, to release that anxiety, and just battle that uncertainty? Because I know meditation is a great tool for doing that, but can you shed some light on how you could do that?
It's really by doing, because there's no magic pill, and even if you spend in silence like 10 minutes a day, this is your opportunity to reset and to listen to yourself, and maybe not even fight the emotions that come up. And what you could do is actually use meditation in conjunction with your journaling practice. You can actually, sit at it in silence. You can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, but like not disturbed. And then some stuff will come up naturally, and then you can actually journal about it. You can actually, try and make sense of what comes up for you in writing. Some people can't sit still, and it's okay too. Some people practice walking meditation. There's nothing better than connecting with yourself through nature. When you go for a walk, when you look at, the trees and the grass and, the sea, we're blessed to have beautiful environment in New Zealand. This can help you as well. So I think it's more realizing what feels good for me. What do I get the most benefit from? My husband, for example, he, I don't think he'll ever be, or I shouldn't really say like a meditator as such, like seated meditator, but his meditation and his connection, to his own mindfulness is walking our dog Scooby. This is his way of actually just kind of, connecting to himself, and it's beautiful. It works for him. So just choose whatever feels good for you, and then try and make it part of your daily life, part of your routine. And at the same time, don't beat yourself up if you slip up. If one day you're like, oh, I didn't journal, like the other day, like I have a couple of journals, and one of them that's kind of like a free writing, and I opened it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't written like for a few weeks. So the old me potentially from a number of years ago will be like, oh, forget about it, but like so you're not a journaler, but now I feel like, okay, so I didn't journal for a few weeks, so what? I just pick it up and I start again. It doesn't matter. So it's being kind to yourself and just kind of going with the flow. Life happens, we get busy.
Yeah. I think I'm a bit still like that, like, oh, if I didn't do something, I'll still beat myself over it. I'm trying to kind of get better, but there are still many times and I'm like, oh, you didn't do this, you silly woman. Be kind to yourself. I think that's a really good one. I had seen a post on Instagram the other day, and said like, be kind to yourself. And I kept actually thinking about it, like, okay, what am I going to do to be kind to myself today? So
that's a very good even journaling prompt. Let's say journaling prompt or meditation or mindfulness prompt, like in the morning, first thing in the morning, if you wake up, and you can ask yourself, what can I do today to be more kind to myself? Or, what experience can I gift to myself to experience kindness? Something like that. And just come up with, like a couple of things. And this will be very soothing, like you'll just, I don't know, you'll just feel, I know that you'll feel the shift in the energy and the shift, how you will turn up to the world. If this is, how you started your day. Or at the end of the day, you can do the opposite. You can actually analyze it, and you can write about stuff. What have I done today to be kind to myself? Or what have I done today to be kind to other people? Kindness is kindness, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good journaling prompt, isn't it? Yeah, maybe we should leave our viewers with that. So if you're thinking of starting journaling, there's your prompt. What can you do today to be kind to yourself? Or if you're doing it at night, what have you done today to be kind to yourself? That's excellent. Talking about Instagram posts, now you had done a really good Instagram post the other day, and it was about trusting your gut. And I loved it, and I thought about it so much, because I am personally in this season of life where I'm like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? There's some chatter in my head. And I have not been able to identify. Everybody tells, okay, go with your gut feeling. But I don't know whether that's my gut feeling or whether that's my brain just taking on autopilot and saying like, okay, just overriding it. So how would you identify your gut feeling, and how would you even trust it?
How would you even trust it? I think it's something, because you can call it gut feel, you can call it intuition, you can call it inner voice, but it's the whole idea that at some stage we need to trust ourselves, and then we need to trust what comes up for us inside of us. I think we were brought up, or most of us were brought up by teachers or parents who were telling us what to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be great if we were blessed, all of us were blessed with parents who were, teasing what was good for us or asking questions. But the reality was that, do this, do that, do the other, go to the university, etc., etc. So we kind of not really present to what comes up for us. And we are not present even to the fact that we can do what feels good for us inside. So therefore, we always look for somebody else's advice, just tell us what to do, because we're not trained to actually sit and listen to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think part of what you're saying is literally just listening to yourself. When you're saying, you don't know, like, does it even important to understand what exactly is it? The question will be, would you like to do it? Is there like a pull to do it? Or do you feel that somebody else pushes you towards that way?
Right. Again, I think it comes down to sitting down and meditating and answering that question, isn't it? And identifying whether it is, like, again, going back to the values, it is somebody else's belief that's put on you, or is it something that you yourself believe in? So I think they're all nicely connected together.
Yeah, it's about really listening to yourself and listening to your own needs before you listen to anybody else. You really need to make friends with yourself and start trusting your gut. Trust is like the reason why I put that post is at the beginning of every year I come up with a word for the year, and I actually did a challenge with my subscribers at the end of last year to help them define the word for the year. So trust was actually my word for the year. And so what I realized, that trust goes both ways. You can trust yourself, or you can trust, things and people around you. So my work, for whatever reason, in that post, I was more kind of present to trusting yourself and going with the flow that comes up for you. And you can, it's all about just spending time with yourself and listening to yourself, just shutting out the chatter that happens around us. Social media and, this and that and the other. Like, what actually, like, why are we so afraid to spend time with ourselves? What's so uncomfortable about it?
That's a good question.
That's another one for you.
Yeah. Cool. Con, a life coach, like, you guys are really trained to, and you have just this massive amount of knowledge, isn't it? Now, I know that a lot of our audiences are, in the coaching niche, and many of them are new coaches, maybe trying to figure out how to get themselves certified as a life coach, as you are. So for coaches here in New Zealand who would want to be a life coach, maybe I want to be a life coach, and get themselves certified, what is the process? How would you train to be a life coach here in New Zealand?
That's life coaching is not a regulated profession as such. Like, if you want to become a doctor or a psychologist, you need to have certain degrees, but life coaching is not. So that's why there's lots of people who just start coaching because they have, I don't know, certain experiences, inclination. So there's no, there's no requirement for you to be a certified coach. But for me, I thought that if I want to do it properly, if I want my clients to trust me, if I want my clients to trust in my ability to coach them, in my belief in constant development of self and my learning, I felt like I needed to approach it in a more kind of profound way. So that's why I got certified. I had a training with New Zealand Institute of Coaching, and Anna's there is absolutely, wonderful soul. You can talk to her. But it's part of International Coaching Federation. So this is the largest body of coaches around the world. And my attraction there was that it's a very structured approach. So they have code of ethics that I have to adhere to. So then again, it will put my clients at ease, because, I can tell them what it means, about confidentiality, all these things, Then they have competencies, like whenever you apply for like a high grading within the International Coaching Federation, you have to demonstrate that you display those core competencies at different levels depending on your certification level while you coach. So that was really like, I think, like I am a creative person, but at the same time I do love the structure, and I think that structure really works for me personally. So I think if this is something that you find attractive, you can go to ICF, International Coaching Federation website, and they will have a list of training courses by country. The other thing to consider is, do you want an in-person training or do you want to have it online? So do you want to have a short one over the weekend, or do you want to have a long one? For me, again, the attraction was to have in person and a long one. So I had this opportunity to learn and to fail and to ask lots of questions, with people who are training with me, with my 4 beautiful coaches that were, training me. So it just depends what are you about, like if that structure doesn't work for you, there's all sorts of other, coaching institutions, I guess, that don't adhere to like ICF codes, but they have something else. So it really is, again, trusting yourself and listening to yourself.
Going back to that.
And it's all about connection as well, because when you do research, you're like, I'm a believer of talking to people and then see, do you connect with them? And if you connect with them, then go for it,
Right. When you say long course, what kind of length are we looking at? A few months?
Again, depends. Like I had 4 months, so that was quite intense, and we're still in touch with people I was training with, and my like I said, 4 wonderful coaches that trained us. So yeah, it's a beautiful community. It's a very sort of unique when you can speak the same language, and when you can ask.
It's so awesome when you find your tribe, isn't it?
Yes. No, it definitely feels really good.
Yeah. No, super. All right. And that kind of brings us to the end of our session. Thank you so much, Irina, for your time. Extremely valuable lessons today that I'm going to go and apply to my life. And for our viewers, if you want to know how Irina can help you, please go and check her profile on GetCoached website. It's getcoached.co.nz. Go to Life Coaches and you'll see beautiful Irina smiling there. You'll see her profile picture there, so you know who she is. And if you still want to discover what your values are, which sounds like it's the basis of everything, isn't it? Basis of having an aligned life. Irina can help you with that on her 1.5-hour session. It's called Unlocking Your Core Values. So do go out and check that as well. So Irina, where can people connect with you?
So you can connect with me, probably Instagram would be the easiest, actually, Instagram or Facebook, and then all the links are there. So it's Irina Sweeney Coaching on Instagram, and then in the profile you can see all the links. But I think the value exercise, it's kind of like a basic one. It will give you a taste for your life, for your alignment with things that you do. You'll get really clear on what are your top personal values are, and then you get a sense of what's it like to work with me. So, and if you like it, then we can continue, in a different capacity or for longer times. But I think that that foundation to understand your top 10 values, I think it will be very helpful for you, regardless of whether you work further with me or not.
Super. So thank you so much, Irina, once again. And before I let you go, we did talk about a journaling prompt, which we came up in the middle of the session, which was, how are you going to be kind to yourself? But for somebody just starting out on a journaling, would you like to leave them with one easy as journaling prompt to get them started?
Yes. I think like maybe choose one of two. Like one could be what brings me joy, or what brought me joy today, if you're journaling at the end of the day, what brought me joy today, or yesterday if you do it in the morning. And the really simple one is about gratitude. Just name 3 things that you're grateful for today. So this is actually how I started journaling. So like my first consistent experience with it was that I was writing down 3 things that I was grateful for every day. And that kind of got me into the rhythm. And then I started expanding on that. There you go.
Super. All right. Thank you so much, Irina. And you have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Bhuwana. It was really good. Good chat. Thanks for having me.
It definitely was. Yeah. We'll see you around. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody who stayed with us for our very first session of Ask Me Anything with Life Coach Irina Sweeney. Man, she had a lot of valuable lessons, amazing wealth of knowledge, and she looked gorgeous. If you are looking for a life and business coach, then you've got to check out getcoached.co.nz. We house some of the best New Zealand life and business coaches who are a small business themselves, which means that they will understand your situation better, see your opportunities, understand your difficulties, and they've probably been there in your situation. So it just makes sense to support your local coaches and get advice from them. So do check out getcoached.co.nz for our list of amazing coaches here in New Zealand.